Welcome back to the 50th Annual Sun and Fun International Expo and Fly-In. I'm Ben Coleman, your anchor host for the Florida Aviation Network, coming to you live and in the clear from the Central Florida Aerospace Academy here in beautiful Lakeland Linder International Airport. Wow, have we had a day. And this is the wrap of our day, but we finish with the cream of the crop. And then we're going to go out and watch an air show. And if you're not here watching it with us, you're missing out. And we have to get you back at some point. But we have the Raskeys here with us today. Bob and Karen. Bob.
Good seeing you again.
You as well. And you are a mainstay. You were a fixture here with the Florida Aviation Network. And but these guys, they travel the world together. They have fun together. They live together. I think they're probably even married. They say they're married, but I don't know. But no, we're having some fun with them. And Bob, tell me what we're doing about, and Karen, more Karen than Bob, but next generation of aviators. What are we doing to get people involved in this business?
So an awful lot out there. As a matter of fact, if anybody who's reading the news or up on the news knows that we've been doing that for the past 2 years, a large push for the so-called shortage of pilots. And so all the airlines and everybody from schools, airlines, government have been pushing for, with the next generation to promote it, to give them that concept right out of high school, basically, because prior to that, there was no real job opportunities for a while. So the youngsters and our younger generation, when they're up in high school, didn't see that as a pathway. Didn't say, I could be a pilot. We didn't hear about it much. Now it's in the news, programs, Aviate with United, right? So there's this big push because we need a next generation of pilots still for the next 80 years, or more so, until we have AI and unmanned cockpits or so. So right now, we're doing so many different programs with the airlines specifically, reaching down to the schools, to the high school level. I'm with AOPA, and they have the Aviation High School STEM program spread throughout over 600 schools throughout the country, where they're embedding, like CFAA here, a program for these children to start young, and then they become young adults, and then graduate from high school and move on. So we're trying to reach down to grade school now. So all this is about, the fact is that the future's bright, and there's not many career fields out there for me to choose from that have this amazing "we need you" opportunity.
Well, and I know Karen has her, she has another take on it from a different perspective. You came up military.
I came up, kicked out of high school, and joined the military. Okay. In New York, back when I was 18.
A successful failure.
Yes.
That's what you are, is a successful failure. But no, I say that lovingly, because Bob and I go way back. But Karen, I'm so glad that you guys were able to commingle and actually become a partner. You're partners in life, and that's a fact. And they fly together, live together, work together. But Karen, what have you seen from your perspective coming up? Because it's not as easy for a woman coming up in a man's industry, but it's not just a man's industry anymore. It's a person's industry.
You're right. There's still less than 5% of all airline pilots are women. So there is a shortage of women, and it's because a lot of women didn't know that was a pathway. I became a flight attendant. I wanted to see the world, and my parents bought me a Fisher-Price airplane, which I played with nonstop when I was a kid. And then I got the Barbie airplane, which said United Friendship on the tail, and I played with that all the time. They knew I loved aviation, but after college I went and became a flight attendant. And then my very first day on the job was in a 747, and I walk in the cockpit and I'm like, whoa, it's the queen of the skies. This is what I want to do. Yeah. So I got my private pilot's license in Hawaii, and then came up through the ranks. And I would say there is a lot of news now. People know that you don't have to be in the military. You don't have to have perfect eyesight, just correctable. And that women can do this. I get asked that a lot. Like, what about having children? I'm like, well, my kids got full ride scholarships and graduated, and probably did better, and they were Eagle Scouts. Probably did better because I wasn't home all the time. They were on their own a little bit. Well, their dad's also a pilot, so they were able to be more independent. But there are so many pathways. We are reaching down not only to the high school level, but like you said, the grade school level. Where there's so many opportunities. They give away free private pilots licenses these days. And really, the difference between people who want to become pilots now and actually become pilots is perseverance. You just have to keep showing up every single day, fly a plane, just keep flying and get that license, and then get the next license, and almost anybody could do this. But all you have to do is just start, just do it.
And I think the term that has really come up more recently is the commitment. To make a commitment and to hold that commitment, both to yourself and the industry that you want to get involved with. I don't think anybody that has been a successful airman in any regard, but maintenance, operations, whatever, if you take that commitment on and you do the best that you can be, I don't care if you're in aviation or rebuilding mailboxes or wagons, whatever you want to do, as long as you do it the best that you possibly can. And I would like to see that come out of our next gen. What are we at now? Gen Z? Are we the Gen Zers?
Beyond that.
Yeah. Triple
Gen
Zs?
Gen A.
Gen A. You start from the beginning again.
Oh, does it go around?
Yeah, you do.
Are you serious?
Seriously,
You're
yeah,
messing
there's
with me.
Gen A's.
You're serious?
I'm
Yeah.
serious. That's
Wow.
the next one.
Just when you think you know it all.
There you go.
So the Gen
So you were what, a
A's.
Gen
I was a baby boomer.
Charlie?
I was born
Baby
in
boom. Oh, yeah, that's
56.
right. You were, okay.
Yeah.
That's why you were just a nice guy.
I'm a boomer. But I am having so much fun, but I'm a little bit concerned because of the state of the industry is that we need qualified people. And I was just last week at Amarillo, the ACSF symposium was there, Air Carrier Safety Foundation. And it is going to happen. It maybe not in our lifetime, but AI, it's going to happen. And we've talked about the aircraft that flies itself and takes off, lands, and all this other thing. And the pilot's there just to monitor and make sure everything goes right for now. But eventually, it's not going to be that way. What are we going to do in the meantime? Because there's hundreds of millions of miles of safe passage that we owe to the industry, both cargo and packs. In the meantime, we have got to fill these seats with qualified people. And did we tell anybody that flying's really kind of easy? Did we let that out?
I think so. Karen tells me all the time, man, this is easy was your landing
However,
at 777.
when you start having a problem, now it's not easy anymore. Now it's work. Now you got to know your business. You got to be A's and Q's. You got to be lined up. We need to find those folks that understand and appreciate that type of mentality at an early age, like you're talking about 5th grade, earlier, kindergarten. Did you mention kindergarten a
No.
while back?
No, your grade school and up.
Grade school,
Yeah,
okay.
with the beginning where you reach into their minds and say, have you ever thought about this? Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's certain sex education in kindergarten, so why not?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but grade school is probably a good time to have them at least introduced to it, like coming to SunFun. Tell us more about your ideas of how to do the next gen for aviation.
Well, just like that, like you say, as far as the AI and automation, that's going to be real. That's going to be programmed way out. You're going to see the first part of that introduced into cargo carriers. So people in the cargo world will start beginning the rise of maybe the single pilot that was FAA kind of tested and talked about over back in 911 days. And then 911 kind of said, we don't want to be in any airplane without a pilot anymore, because of that incident. So we're down the road now back, and we already have caravans and other aircraft that are cargo carrying that it will start up, taxi, go out, take off, land, receive. So that's in play. And nothing really stops human evolution, right? We just keep moving ahead, from horses to cars, from flying airplanes to one person to totally automated. Why that's important is because it doesn't exist for now. So you have to live your best time in the moment they have, which is right now. So for the future, easy 50, 60 years, that's a whole generation or two that's going to have this great career of flying, right? You fly for so in the pathways, and they discover that from the high school on up is a very big choice to start get introduced to some kind of flying. AOPA has embedded STEM programs into them, and start saying, yes, I want to do this because that opportunity exists. And they'll identify themselves in different ways as far as what they want to fly, what kind of aviation. One of the biggest pathways, as in my own daughter, right, is the Air National Guard. I was an Army guy, Army Guard, and then I transitioned to the Air Force world. The Air Force National Guard is the best thing for anybody who's like 17, turning 18 like I did. I didn't take advantage of it back in my time, but you can join the, let's say, like my daughter, Montgomery Air National Guard. That's where she flies F-35s. So out of high school, you could join the Guard 1 week in a month, and in that 1 week in a month, you show up, you do some work, you know, in cyber or maintenance or anything in that way, and then the payoff is they'll pay a big chunk of your education, and also with the Guard bill, 60% or so of your flight training. So if you ever wanted to think out, how do I get there and pay for all this? One thing I tell some, do you know the best part-time job in the world is 2 days a month? And if you do those 2 days a month, you're in uniform, of course, you're doing fun stuff. Then you don't have to worry about that loan and education and being in debt. And then that's a good pathway. You're also surrounded by aviators. Now, we talk pilots, but there's the whole bunch of maintenance pilots. So when you introduce yourself at that stage, which I say, which is a good pathway, then you're going to fly with them. You're going to maintain it. Then, when you start working, you know, your college degree a year or two down and get your ratings, maybe just a private, the National Guard will reach out to you and say, you know, you've been with us a while, and we know you want to fly, and then they'll put you to school. They'll do a nominating class, pick some folks who are really hard workers, some in the unit, some outside, on that pathway, which my daughter followed that pathway 2 years ago, well, when she was 18. Same thing. Took her to a Guard unit, she joined the unit, worked maintenance, and she told me, I don't know if I want to fly. Now she's flying F-35, you know? So in that introduction of pathways, that's one. One is the military. I like the part-time program. There's the full-time program, which is available. The part-time program, you enter it at 18, but you're not going to fly until you know, get your college degree of it, you know, or at least an associate's. So that's a good pathway. Other pathways, of course, are in the local, like CFAA, and where we're at today, you know, the Aerospace Academy. These are popping up all over the place, so then you learn to fly by going to a college and say, let me take a lesson. Because I think the very first kickoff to see if you want to be a pilot, if you want to enter this aerospace thing is, I did that for the FAA safety team. I did an article on that. I said, the first thing you want to do is just take that first flight. Don't think about it, don't ponder it, go to a local flight school. I want to think about this flying, go up and see if it hits you. That's the motivation, because if you like it, that's the other way, the civilian pathway. And as you're doing that, you get your ratings, you're going through school, become a flight instructor, teach, and then of course, just here we are today, there's boots all over the place recruiting, you know, in their 20, like ATP or less, depending on what, you know, 121, 135, very early. They need them. So that's a good pathway too, that civilian route. So you got Air Force, Guard, Air Force full-time, and then you also got the general aviation path up like Embry-Riddle, which I graduated from. So there are all great opportunities out there, funded in different ways. For the future, and I have to kick in there too, because we have astronaut friends, you know, that you remember, we took the Tonga and stuff like that. In that world is that, think of space too, aerospace. Because we had that discussion earlier. I think AI will pop in, there'll be single pilot, but I think space is still going to have humans because humans want to go until they become automated made. So that's another thing when you're checking aerospace. Say, well, hey man, I want to be like, I want to be an astronaut, simply. So all those pathways exist. Identify it earlier, reach out and try it, talk to others who've been there, stay away from the naysayers. The naysayers always will say, you know, it's going to be all no pilots here in the next 20 years. That's not true. Yeah. It's going to take a generation or two to accept.
Yeah, why get started down a path that they're just going to do away with them anyway? So why even start it?
Exactly.
40 years, there's a lot of flying to be done.
There's a lot of flying. It's a whole career field. And then down the road, as they're in their career field, you will see the changes, but you never think about that. You want to be here and then feel the change and move on, which is a great opportunity. So this is, and anybody else considering other jobs out there, you're going to see that a lot of industries are also eliminating a bit of the human factor part of it there with AI and all that. So it's your choice of that. And they can't eliminate pilots yet. Yet. So other career fields may be going away out there, like say you go to law, legal, and AI now takes over 30% of the lawing. Until they say no more pilots, which will be 40, 50 years, I'd say, you got good job fields.
Well, and Bob, I hate to pop your bubble, but pilots, mechanics, dispatchers, engineers, there's so much in aviation that can feed someone's desire. I don't care what it is. Even if you don't like airplanes, there's something in the industry that would be appealing to you. Just like the young lady that she don't want to be in aviation. She just wants to be an artist. Well, there's a lot of artists in the aviation industry, art and the arts. But
Well, to that point, what does she go to school for?
She's an opera singer.
Opera singer and art. So when she was 18, but being in the Guard,
Yeah.
she was an artist, right, and all that, and just said no way to flying. And then she graduated like on top of her classes and stuff and that. So for the generation thinking of what you want to be, don't overthink it. You still can pick different things. You could be an artist. You can go to school for art and still fly airplanes, and you still could do military flying and general aviation.
and the discipline. I mean, you were a mother growing up and flying still.
Yep.
I can't think of any more demanding jobs than to be a mother and fly for the airlines.
Yeah, you took your commercial check ride. How many months pregnant were you?
Commercial, I was 9 months, and I gave birth 2 weeks after that license, and then my MEI, I went right back to flying, and after my MEI, I gave birth 5 days after that.
And that's the opportunity that women have to
Yeah.
enter those pathways
So
too.
that takes big ovaries to do that. But I'm telling you, the discipline. I do like the military. I've got grandsons. It would not make me happier than to hear. Hopefully, they're listening here. That they decided that they want to enlist. And the Guard would not be a bad
Perfect.
way to go.
Oh,
Or
and
reserves.
just touch on that too. When they say join the military, that is what most people don't understand, the Guard Reserve.
Yeah.
They always think it as the full-time part, where you could actually enter right at 18 as a part-timer to figure out your way. So
Yeah.
for your grandsons, it's like take them to a unit and say, hey, this is not full-time. And what else can you do part-time that would pay that kind of money and educational and flight? There's not many jobs out there.
And
that do.
it's not just the book learning education, it's the discipline education.
Sure.
This is a system, a very well oiled and maintained system so far. Hopefully they won't mess it up.
Yep.
That's really what I want them to learn and just to be happy what they do.
A great opportunity to
And,
be exposed to it.
We don't have much time, but I got to share this with you. Uber driver, my
Yes.
last trip back from Tampa, he noticed my jacket. I was wearing my Imperial Jet jacket. He said, "Sir, you wouldn't by chance be a pilot, would you?" I said, "Oh God, this could be a long trip." Yeah, what makes you ask? He says, "Well, I just started my training." I says, "Great, how far along are you?" "I just had my introductory flight." "You mean you've had your introductory flight and you're in it now?" I said, "Absolutely, I've already signed up." And I said, "Well, that's great." So I'm staying in touch with the little fellow.
Yeah.
And trying to keep him pumped.
Yep.
When things start to go, sometimes you get a little fork in the road.
Sure. Absolutely.
But let's learn how to deal with those forks in the road. But we've got to wind this up. I can't believe. We've been talking for 20 minutes on this.
Well,
It seemed like 5. But Bob, what else? And you're going to be here this week?
I'm here to the 11th, and then I'm going to Rome.
Okay.
That trip on Rome.
Are you going to come back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I hope so. I mean, Rome's a nice place. She just came back from Rome and like, got it all mapped out what to do. So, yeah.
And Karen, you're going to be here.
I will be here this week.
Okay, excellent. We look forward to seeing you, and it's always a pleasure. You guys always light up a room. I don't care where it is.
You're very kind. Lovely being here.
Just being honest. Okay, Bob, I'm
Yep,
going to
sir.
reach across the lady.
Thank you.
And I'm going to give you a hug. Oh, there we go. And that will do it here for this interview, this day, as a matter of fact. Let's start it again tomorrow. I'm Ben Coleman, your anchor host. Florida Aviation Network will see you tomorrow.